It was late at night when I received a phone call. The caller ID indicated it was my husband. He spoke with grave seriousness, telling me that I would die at 2 in the morning. Yet, there he was, unmistakably lying next to me, sleeping peacefully. I turned my head to gaze at Lu He, who was emitting steady breaths in his sleep. His eyes were shut, and his phone was silently charging on the bedside table. However, the voice coming from the phone was definitely Lu He's. Even the caller ID confirmed it was Lu He's number.
Diao Nuo?
His voice was a mixture of excitement and shock, with an unmistakable catch in his throat. I responded almost instinctively. Then, I heard Lu He's hurried breathing over the phone. Xiao Nuo, what time is it on your end? I turned once more to confirm that it was indeed Lu He lying beside me. Though shock reverberated through me, I answered truthfully, 10 o'clock. Lu He took a deep, labored breath. There's still time, Xiao Nuo. I know this must be startling, but you need to pay close attention to what I'm about to say. Here, it's a week later. I have just returned from your funeral. You will die at 2 in the morning, which is in 4 hours. The cause of death is... Lu He's voice faltered. This was absolutely ludicrous. I started to suspect it was a prank call. Perhaps someone had recorded Lu He's voice and fabricated a message using AI. But when I picked up Lu He's phone, a cold shiver ran up my spine. The display on Lu He's phone read, "In call," and the person on the line was me. It was indeed a call from the future. I quickly composed myself. Your cause of death will be a fall from a height. The police will report that you fell from the 3rd floor after slipping. Since you landed on your head, it resulted directly in your death. However, I don't believe it was simply an accident. Am I likely asleep now? Xiao Nuo, you need to wake me up immediately and keep me awake. I dimly heard you arguing with Su Qing. Then came the loud crash of your fall. I suspect Su Qing killed you. This time, I'm determined to protect you. Su Qing is my closest friend. This morning, Lu He, Su Qing, and I arrived at this secluded villa in the deep mountains. The villa was bought by Lu He's parents before they went abroad. They seldom visit, leaving the keys with Lu He. We 3 often came here for open-air barbecues. Originally, we planned to leave the mountain tonight, but an unexpected storm and landslide meant we had to spend the night at the villa. The deluge of information was overwhelming, making it hard for me to process. I wanted to ask Lu He more, but the call ended abruptly. I noticed a line displayed on the phone. Call count 5. The call had precisely lasted 1 minute. Did this number represent the limited times I could communicate with the future Lu He? Yet, it was difficult for me to believe that Su Qing would harm me. Su Qing and I have been inseparable since our college days. A friendship that has lasted 5 years. We are so close that we could practically swap clothes. Despite my disbelief, I decided to wake Lu He. Lu He, wake up. But for some reason, Lu He was in a deep sleep. No matter how much I shook him, he didn't stir. This was out of character for him. Lu He, who suffers from mild anxiety, is typically a light sleeper. He usually wakes at the slightest noise. I then recalled that Lu He had drunk a bottle of mineral water earlier, handed to him by Su Qing. Could Su Qing have tampered with the water? A sense of dread filled me. At that moment, I heard a knock at the door. Seconds later, Su Qing's voice called out, "Xiao Nuo, are you asleep? If not, could you come out and talk with me?" Her voice sounded muffled, as though she was speaking through covered lips. Outside, lightning flashed, casting stark shadows as heavy raindrops battered the windows. I clenched the phone tightly, holding my breath, not daring to make a sound. But then I realized that the door to the room wasn't locked. I took a deep breath and moved silently across the floor, barefoot. Despite my careful approach to the door, Su Qing's hearing proved incredibly acute. I heard something. "Xiao Nuo, you haven't gone to bed yet, have you?" I trembled, biting down on my lip. Su Qing's voice continued, probing. "I've already heard your footsteps. What's happening? Why aren't you speaking?" I gathered my composure and, as I reached to lock the door, found that it couldn't be locked from the inside. "I'm worried about you. Can I come in?" Su Qing's voice was laced with concern. My breathing accelerated. I knew if I kept silent, Su Qing would surely enter. I steadied my breathing and replied, Xiao Qing, I just got up to use the bathroom. I'm quite tired today. Let's chat tomorrow. Okay? After a long, tense silence outside, Su Qing finally responded with an okay. I exhaled in relief. But just then, my phone rang again. The caller ID displayed Su Qing's name. I furrowed my brow but decided to answer the phone. Dio Nuo? Is that you? Su Qing's voice sounded both surprised and incredulous. Yes, it's me. Her words puzzled me. But then, her voice broke through in sobs, utterly distraught. I've been dialing your number like a madwoman recently. Everyone thinks I've lost my mind, but I just needed to hear your voice again. An inconceivable thought dawned on me. Su Qing's subsequent words solidified my suspicions. Xiao Nuo, you might find this hard to believe, but you need to hear this. You will die in 4 hours. I'm speaking from a week in the future. I've just been to your funeral. You fell from the 3rd floor of the villa, dying from a head injury. The police say it was an accident, but I don't believe that. This morning, before our hike, I overheard Lu He on a call. He had secured a large accidental death insurance policy on you. He must have been plotting to kill you. Xiao Nuo, I tried to reach you that night to tell you this, but you didn't give me the chance. Perhaps this call is a divine opportunity. Xiao Nuo, please leave the room immediately and find me. I will keep you safe, Su Qing urged with desperation. The call abruptly cut off. Once again, my phone showed the call had lasted exactly 1 minute. Remaining calls, 4. My hands shook uncontrollably as I held onto the phone. Was Su Qing's request to chat just a way to warn me about Lu He taking out the insurance? I turned, only to find that Lu He had woken up. He was gazing at me intently. A shiver of fear ran through me. Lu He, you're awake. I couldn't wake you up earlier, no matter what I tried. I mustered a weak smile. Lu He tilted his head, looking puzzled. I don't know why, but my head feels incredibly heavy today. He hesitated, then said, Xiao, I feel off. I think it might be the water I drank earlier. I remembered the evening when Su Qing handed us water, one bottle room temperature and the other chilled. Knowing I dislike cold water, Lu He would have definitely opted for the chilled bottle. Had Su Qing manipulated our preferences so that Lu He would drink from the tampered bottle? Xiao Nuo, I've been wanting to tell you. There's something not quite right with Su Qing, but you two are so close, I just couldn't find the right moment. Look at this video. Lu He showed me a video from his phone. It was from our engagement 3 months ago. In it, under the blessings of our friends and family, Lu He and I exchanged shy smiles. The camera then caught Su Qing's face. Her expression was peculiar. Seemed like Su Qing was smiling, but her eyes were unnaturally wide open, fixed intently on us. Frankly, Su Qing's expression unnerved me. All this time, I had known her as an outspoken, straightforward girl. After watching the video that day, I felt something was off, so I went through some old photos of the 3 of us. Reviewing these photos on Lu He's phone sent shivers down my spine. In every photo, Su Qing's expressions were unnervingly creepy. She grinned at me, her smile exaggerated and forced. I did some investigating into Su Qing's past after that. Do you remember her telling you about being bullied by her roommates in high school? I nodded. Su Qing had indeed spoken about being collectively bullied by her roommates in high school, leading to her transferring schools. I had felt deeply for her. Lu He inhaled deeply and showed me a news clipping. March 1, 2013. An accidental fire occurred in room 405 of Jianxi High School. 3 individuals died in the room, but 1 student survived because she returned late and was not in the dorm. Jianxi High School was where Su Qing had studied. My heart pounded furiously. Su Qing had never mentioned this incident to me. I contacted Su Qing's high school classmates. They told me that the police suspected arson in that fire, but no evidence was ever found. It remained a mysterious case. Furthermore, Su Qing wasn't bullied. On the contrary, she was very close to one of the dorm girls. But from their sophomore year, their relationship worsened. To be precise, everyone in Su Qing's class began to feel somewhat intimidated by her. Why? Queried, puzzled. Sweat beaded on Lu He's nose. Su Qing was kidnapped in her freshman year. Before that, she was very quiet and introverted. But her personality changed dramatically after the kidnapping, becoming markedly extroverted. Su Qing's classmates said she seemed very strange afterward. Even her eating habits changed completely, as if she had become a different person. Lu He added, I found a news report from when Su Qing was kidnapped. I looked at the photo of the arrested kidnapper on Lu He's phone. There was a photo of a woman with a fierce look. But what truly terrified me was that the woman in the photo was smiling. Her smile was eerily similar to Su Qing's smile that I had seen before. Lu He looked at me with serious eyes and said something that chilled me to the bone. Xiao Ne, do you think the person who came back was actually Su Qing? Lu He's question sent a shiver through me. I reminisced about all the years I had spent with Su Qing. She had always been tomboyish but took great care of me. I remembered one harrowing night in college when I had severe food poisoning, vomiting profusely and ruining my clothes. Su Qing stayed by my side all night, gently cleaning the mess from my body. At that moment, I had resolved to be friends with Su Qing for life. Yet I suddenly realized how little I truly knew about Su Qing's past. She had never told me about the fire incident during her high school years or her kidnapping. At that moment, my phone rang again. Looking down, I saw it was a call from Su Qing. No, more accurately, it was from Su Qing a week into the future. I glanced at Lu He and murmured, I'm going to the bathroom. I hurried to the bathroom inside the room and answered the phone. Over the phone, Su Qing's voice continued, now laced with a crying tone. Why did the call end so abruptly earlier? I hadn't finished speaking, and it took me forever to get through. Xiao Nua, there's something critical you need to know about Lu He. I've continued investigating Lu He after your death, and I discovered he actually has a twin brother. Lu He's brother has displayed disturbing behavior since childhood. He was still wetting the bed at 12, he enjoyed torturing animals, and he was frequently violent toward classmates. All classic signs of a potential murderer. When Lu He was 14, his brother severely injured a classmate, leading to significant financial liability for their family. The night before his brother was scheduled to be sent to juvenile detention, a devastating fire broke out in their home, and Lu He's brother perished in that fire. Xiao Nua, I can't help but wonder why Lu He kept this secret from us. Could it be that the person who died in that fire was actually the real Lu He? My heart seized up at the thought. Twins are often strikingly similar. What if the one who survived wasn't Lu He, but his twin brother? Perhaps to escape juvenile detention, Lu He's brother assumed Lu He's identity. My breath quickened. Who is telling the truth, Su Qing or Lu He? Just then, a knock came at the door. Xiaonua, are you okay? It sounds like you're talking to someone in there. Lu He's voice resounded from outside the door. I quickly calmed my breathing. I'm all right. Suddenly, the voice of Su Qing on the phone turned to a fearful whisper. Xiaonua, your cause of death has been altered. Instead of a fall, it's now cardiac rupture. You're going to be stabbed to death. My heart thudded wildly. Cautiously, I lowered myself to the floor, pressing flat against it. Through the gap beneath the door, I could see Lu He's feet. In his hand, he gripped a sharply gleaming knife. Then, the voice on the phone suddenly stopped. The minute of call time had ended. Remaining calls 3. The doorknob began to slowly turn, emitting a quiet squeak. I recoiled in horror. The door swung open at that moment. Lu He appeared in the doorway, the dagger in his hand reflecting a harsh, piercing light. He offered a small, mysterious smile, his gaze dark and enigmatic as he looked at me. I retreated 2 steps, my back pressing against the wash basin, eyeing Lu He with caution. Xiao Nua, Su Qing could be extremely dangerous. It's essential we arm ourselves. He extended the knife towards me. I accepted it, my grip firm and resolute. Lu He, did you once have a twin brother? A fleeting change crossed Lu He's expression. His eyes flickered briefly. Xiao Nua, Who has told you this? A weight settled in my heart. Why have you never mentioned this before? Lu He fixed his gaze on me, saying nothing. It seemed he was scrutinizing my reaction. After what felt like an eternity, Lu He exhaled a weary sigh. Xiao Nuo, I've always avoided discussing this with you. It's a deep wound of mine. My brother was a sociopath, a man who committed countless horrific acts. But on the night of that devastating fire, he was the one who saved me, shielding me with his body. He himself turned into nothing but a charred corpse. I've always loathed and feared this brother. Yet, paradoxically, it was he who ultimately sacrificed his life for me. That's why, Xiao Nuo, I've been reluctant to dredge up these memories with you. Lu He's expression was laden with gravity. And why did you keep the insurance purchase from me? I stared deeply into Lu He's eyes. A flicker of surprise crossed his face, then a reluctant acceptance. Was it Su Qing who told you? I have a junior from university, the one you might recall as somewhat dim-witted. He's shifted to insurance recently, and I thought to lend him a hand by buying 2 policies. I didn't just buy one for you, I bought one for myself too. He presented me with his chat history with his junior. Indeed, Lu He had secured a policy for himself as well. My confusion deepened. Throughout our 2-year relationship, Lu He's care had been nothing short of meticulous. With my strained ties to my biological family, both Lu He and Su Qing had stepped in to fill the emotional void. Doubts nagged at me. Could these two, who have shown me nothing but kindness, truly be plotting against me? What if my fall was just a tragic accident? Perhaps they simply can't come to terms with the reality. At that moment, Lu He clasped my hand. Xiao Nuo, Su Qing has been trying to undermine our bond. I'm feeling unusually weak. There's definitely something off about that water. About that kidnapping many years ago, I asked a classmate who's now a police officer. When the police arrived, they found only Su Qing at the scene. The woman who had kidnapped her had vanished. The police interrogated Su Qing thoroughly, yet she was unable to answer any questions, including the whereabouts of the woman or even her own parents. It's as if she has amnesia, unable to recall anything. But don't you find it odd? Her smile. It's disturbingly similar to that of the vanished kidnapper. Moreover, Su Qing's height and build are strikingly similar to the kidnapper's, aside from her age. A serious look shadowed Lu He's face. A chill of cold sweat seeped down my back. Then, my phone rang anew. It was a call from a future Lu He. Casting a glance at Lu He, I answered despite his proximity. Xiao Nuo, I finally managed to get through again. It's 10:30. In a few moments, a loud bang will erupt from downstairs. I intend to go down alone to check for your safety. You must keep me from going down. Make sure I stay by your side. The call abruptly ended. This time, it only lasted 30 seconds. Lu He had ended it himself. It seemed as though he had encountered an urgent issue on his end. Call count 2. At that instant, a booming noise echoed from downstairs. It sounded as if something substantial had fallen. Lu He's brow creased. Shauna, I'll check it out. Without thinking, I exclaimed, "Don't go!" But it was too late. Lu He had already rushed out. In my nervousness, my phone slipped from my grasp. I stooped to retrieve it. The phone screen was set to the camera interface, likely triggered when it fell. Suddenly, I noticed a new photo in the gallery, timestamped just seconds ago. With trembling fingers, I opened the blurry photo. Yet, the shadowy outline of someone lurking under the bed was unmistakable. It was Su Qing. Her face, blurred in the darkness, was hard to discern, but her eyes, locked intently on me, were clear. Su Qing was concealed beneath the bed. Just a while ago, Lu He and I were in the bathroom. We hadn't noticed anyone sneaking in. I finally grasped why the future Lu He had so fervently insisted that I should not let the present him leave. My throat felt parched, and I gripped the knife firmly. "I see you, Su Qing," I rasped. Su Qing crawled out from under the bed. Her expression was fraught with anxiety. "I took advantage when you weren't paying attention and hid here. The noise downstairs was my doing as well. I strategically placed a phone there to draw Lu He away. Xiao Nua, everything Lu He told you is true. I was indeed kidnapped during my freshman year of high school by a woman suffering from psychosis. She detained me for 3 days, inflicting unspeakable tortures on me, forcing me to consume cockroaches and her feces. She was thoroughly mad. She would torture me, then hold me and kiss me with her foul-smelling mouth, declaring her love. Pain etched Su Qing's face. The trauma was so profound that when I was rescued, I had lost my memory. I genuinely cannot remember that woman's whereabouts. But they all interrogated me, demanding to know where that woman had gone, accusing me of intentionally concealing the truth. It was unbearable. After I recovered my memories, I tried to adopt a cheerful and nonchalant demeanor, all in an effort to blot out those 3 horrifying days and the stench of that room. Yet, I was mistaken. I haven't been able to forget. Despite my efforts, the memories lingered, and people gradually started avoiding me. Then, unexpectedly, my dormitory caught fire. I wasn't there that day because I was at a psychologist's appointment. I'm sorry, Xiao Nua, that I didn't confide in you but claimed I was being bullied instead. I was scared that you might abandon me. That grim chapter is the memory I'm most ashamed of, and I didn't want you to know anything about it. Su Qing's voice broke as tears streamed down her face. Hearing this, I was deeply moved. At that moment, the sound of Lu He's footsteps approached from the stairs. Su Qing darted into the bathroom and locked the door with a swift motion. Her face was etched with seriousness and anxiety. Xiao Nua, I've always had sharp instincts about people. From the moment I first met Lu He, I perceived a certain odor clinging to him. Su Qing's face twisted in disgust. They carry the same stench of decay as the woman who kidnapped me, a vile odor that seeps from their souls. That's what drove me to secretly investigate Lu He, and indeed, I unearthed some unsettling information. Lu He has a twin brother with antisocial personality disorder, right? I inquired, fixing my gaze on Su Qing. Su Qing gave me a surprised look. Xiao Nua, you know all this? Have you been investigating Lu He as well? She moved closer. I believe the real Lu He might be dead, and the one living is that twisted twin. I've yet to find definitive proof, but I'm certain that with more time, I can unearth it. Xiao Nua, please believe me, Su Qing implored with conviction. Suddenly, a knock sounded at the door. Diao Nuo? Why is the door locked? It was Lu He's voice. Su Qing motioned for silence with a shush. She then gestured towards the nearby window with her eyes. Opening the window, cold rain hit my face. A ladder was in place at the window. We must escape. If we stay, Lu He will find a way to hurt us. I've prepared this ladder in advance. You should go down first, Xiao Nua. Su Qing insisted urgently. Suddenly, my phone rang again. It was a call from the future Lu He. I chose to answer. Xiao Nua, are you not with me? Your death has been rescheduled to 5 minutes from now, and the location has changed. You're going to fall from the bathroom window. Get out of the bathroom right now. You aren't with Su Qing, are you? I've uncovered proof that she is not the real Su Qing. Xiao Nua, my police academy classmate, has just reported that the real Su Qing's body has been found, reduced to a skeleton. She died on the 3rd day of her abduction. The person in front of you is not Su Qing, but the kidnapper wearing her guise. If you're currently with Su Qing, you must kill her using the knife I provided. She's a malicious kidnapper who had planned to kill you. Taking her life is purely in self-defense. You're a brave girl, Xiao Nua, and you must survive. The call ended abruptly. Number of calls, 1. Xiao Nua, open the door quickly. Lu He's voice outside was filled with desperate urgency. The doorknob shook violently. Su Qing looked at me with desperation. Xiao, why hesitate? Go down first. This door won't last much longer. I watched her in silence. Xiao Qing, why don't you head downstairs first? I murmured. Su Qing seemed taken aback. Lu He's after you, Xiao Nua. Ensuring your safety is imperative. Worry etched deep within her eyes. Then my phone rang once more. This was undoubtedly my final opportunity for a call. I took the call. It was Su Qing. Xiao Nua. I've unearthed evidence that Lu He isn't who he says he is. A friend's mother, a doctor, was present at the birth of Lu He and his brother. She let me see a photo of the twins from their birth. They resemble each other closely, but a distinct difference is a black birthmark on Lu He's brother's back, which Lu He lacks. Listen closely, Xiao Nua, your time of death has been moved up. In 5 minutes, you will perish in this room. Do not open the bathroom door. Do not let Lu He enter. Follow my instructions to the letter, Xiao Nua. I assure you, I mean you no harm. The last call ended. Calls remaining 0. Now, it is solely up to me to discern who seeks to end my life. As I looked at Su Qing's face, a torrent of memories swept over me. Back in college, after my first devastating breakup, Su Qing embraced my trembling, tearful form, whispering, "You have me." Whenever illness struck, it was Su Qing who spirited me to the infirmary, carrying me as though I weighed nothing. In that moment, my resolve crystallized. No, more accurately, it was the moment to strike back. 08, 6 hours before death. The clock rolled back to 8 p.m. Before the call from Lu He, another call had come. Song Nua. This is your voice from 6 hours into the future. Our minute is brief, so spare your words and listen carefully. At 2 a.m., you will be pushed from upstairs by Lu He. You will bleed profusely, but death will not claim you then. As you see Lu He approach, panic-stricken, squatting beside you, your pleas for help pierce the silence. Lu He murmurs, "Song Nua, I'm sorry. I envisioned a future where we married and raised a child. But that persistent detective has unearthed my secret, and now I need funds to vanish abroad." He then lifts you to the 3rd floor, his smile chilling, and sends you plummeting once more. The police initially rule your death a tragic accident, but a button, fiercely clutched in your hand, quickly leads them to suspect foul play. You are a very astute young woman. Lu He failed to notice the button you clutched. That was the clue you left for the police. I suppose you're stunned, pondering how your ostensibly deceased future self could possibly call you? I am just as bewildered, having found myself just a minute before Lu He pushed me. While I don't understand Lu He's reasons for evading the police, the imperative now is your survival. The line went dead. A tumultuous wave of astonishment surged within me, but swiftly I assimilated the reality of the situation. I observed Lu He in the living room, absorbed in the television, before turning to walk into the kitchen. Plagued by moderate depression and insomnia, I had previously secured some quick-acting sleeping pills through various contacts. I discreetly added these pills to the bottled water from the fridge, then casually took a seat beside Lu He. Contemplating his profile, doubt gnawed at me. Every act of kindness from Lu He was etched in my memory. Yet, there was no motive for my future self to deceive me. Decision crystallized within me. I had to preemptively act to safeguard myself. Since neither Lu He nor Su Qing had made any suspicious moves, calling the police was unjustifiable. The effects of the drug manifested swiftly. Lu He succumbed to a deep slumber, and I lay beside him, enveloped in contemplation. But my hand gripped the small knife in my pocket with unyielding tightness. I was acutely aware that vigilance was non-negotiable. When the moment demanded, I would cut Lu He's throat without hesitation. Lying there, my eyes wide open and fixed on the ceiling, they burned with an intense sting. My family life was deplorable. My father, a gambler, was enslaved by his addictions and alcohol. My mother, painfully timid, would cower in her room during my beatings, paralyzed by fear. She never once stood up to protect me, her daughter. I was left to lick my wounds and forge my own resilience. The last time my father struck me, I retaliated. Unexpectedly facing my resistance, he stumbled and fell hard to the ground. The blade sank deeply into his skull. Yet he would die never knowing that the knife was deliberately placed by me. I turned to gaze at Lu He's face, tranquil in slumber, tears instinctively tracing down my cheeks. Why did you choose to betray me? It was 9:30. Lu He's phone rang. I felt him stir, his eyes opening. I clenched my teeth. I caught the fleeting glance he cast my way. Feigning deep sleep, I maintained a steady rhythm of breaths. Lu He picked up the call. However, he remained silent. After a moment, as if nothing had occurred, he hung up and lay back down beside me, drifting into sleep. Yet, he was oblivious to the fact that at this moment, I had risen and seized his phone. The phone displayed a record of a 1-minute call. Upon viewing the caller ID, my pupils narrowed sharply. It indicated the call was from Lu He's number, a bizarre situation of a call made from him to himself. Unbeknownst to Lu He, I had installed a covert recording application on his device. This app dutifully captured every call he made. I activated the app, dialed down the volume to its lowest, and tremblingly brought it close to my ear. Lu He, this is you from a week in the future. Don't be shocked. Just listen. You are now a fugitive, evading the law. You're destitute, existing as miserably as a sewer rat. In your childhood, you were sharp-witted. During that fire, you survived by lying beneath your unconscious brother. You've long been aware of your parents' favoritism toward you. To avoid juvenile detention, you swapped places with the deceased Lu He, and you've lived under his name ever since, to the point where your true identity has faded from memory. Regrettably, the detective assigned to your case has pursued you relentlessly. Hence, I know that you must escape this country. I realize you had plans to confront Song Nua tonight, yet you didn't foresee that when you pushed her down, she would snatch one of your buttons. This button has become the piece of evidence that prompted the police pursuit. Now, you're granted a second chance to execute a perfect murder of Song Nua without leaving any trace. However, Su Qing must also be dealt with. She's as skeptical as that detective, has been relentlessly tailing you, and likely has pieced something together. In every old photo of you two, her gaze is locked on you with intensity. Still, you cannot be the one to directly kill Su Qing. The optimal strategy is to manipulate Song Nua into doing it. Su Qing harbors a deadly vulnerability. In her high school freshman year, she endured a kidnapping that led to temporary amnesia and deep-seated trauma. By some twist of fate, her dormitory was recently ravaged by fire, leaving her the only survivor. This is a scar she's hidden with desperation, fearing Song Nua might loathe her once tarnished self. However, you can leverage this fear, sowing seeds of doubt in Song Nua. A falsehood laced with elements of truth always resonates more authentically than one entirely conjured. With outward calm, I replaced Lu He's phone in its spot, though my hands quivered ceaselessly. 10 p.m. The phone call from a future Lu He sounded. Pretending to be terrified, I answered. Xiao Qing, I no longer wish to flee. Having uncovered the true nature of this villain, it is my responsibility to ensure he faces justice. I looked at Su Qing with a calm demeanor, my voice gentle. Thus, I require your cooperation. Instantly, the door shattered with a thunderous crash. Lu He had kicked it open. Diao Nuo. I pressed the knife tightly against Su Qing's neck. I applied considerable pressure. A thin line of blood marked Su Qing's neck. Her breaths became quick and shallow. I understood Lu He's profound paranoia. It was essential to convince him that Su Qing and I were irreconcilably opposed. What should we do with her, Lu He? Let's call the police, I proposed in a tear-choked voice, but I was scrutinizing Lu He's response. Unsurprisingly, he opposed calling the police. He dreaded the police, fearful of his identity being unveiled. We can't call the police. We presently have no evidence to link Su Qing to the kidnapping all those years ago. Xiao Nua, we must dispose of her. In that instant, Su Qing's acting prowess shone brilliantly. She erupted into cries and angry screams. Song Nua, you can't do this to me. He's fabricating everything. Silence. I spat the words out venomously. Lu He seemed to savor our reactions. Had I not known him intimately, I might have missed the perverse joy flickering in his eyes. He relished the spectacle of us at each other's throats. Kill her? I couldn't possibly. Murder is a crime, I quivered. Lu He closed in, seized the hand that wielded the knife, and hissed in my ear. Fear not, killing is straightforward. Just close your eyes, I'll guide your hand. Just a light flick. His voice quivered with a sickening thrill. Such a psychopath. I internally sneered at him. A second later, Lu he regarded me in disbelief. The knife, previously threatening Su Qing's neck, now targeted his chest. I looked at him with a mocking, almost smiling expression. Indeed, killing seems quite simple, just a gentle push. The knife tip barely broke his skin. It was the first time I witnessed fear manifest on Lu He's face. He struggled to free himself, but Su Qing clutched his arm tightly. Die, you monster! She barked ferociously. The slight Lu He was powerless to escape Su Qing, who had once been a competitive weightlifter. His face betrayed his discomfiture as he finally shed his disguise, glaring at us with venomous hatred. When did you all catch on? Impossible. My disguise was impeccable, unless... He seemed to have an epiphany, his voice trailing off, and his demeanor collapsed. The police took Lu He into custody. His true identity was subsequently uncovered. His real name, it emerged, was Lu Jia. A week later, Su Qing and I decided to celebrate our fortunate escape by visiting a hotel. Xiao Qing, does this hotel evoke a sense of déjà vu for you? Su Qing, with a puzzled expression, nodded. Yes, I feel it too. Yet this is certainly our first time here. I shrugged. Well, no matter. Let's not ponder over it too much. Let's go enjoy a meal. I might never truly know, but had I not changed my own destiny, this hotel would have been the venue for my funeral a week later.